It is the 6th of January, a Thursday, in the year 2022. This is of course, the one-year anniversary of the hideous attack on democracy and the United States engineered by the Nazi son of a bitch, Donald Trump, and his Christian fascist cult. I don't know if you watched Biden and Kamala Harris's speech this morning. I did. Other than the fact that anytime I see Biden, and I just have to say this, I'm afraid he's going to fall down, or even when he's standing still, or he's going to garble the words that are obviously playing in front of him for him to read. I feel badly for the man. I really do. He and I are the same age. And there's no reason for him to be like that, that I'm aware of. I mean, come on, Joe, for Christ's sake, don't you exercise? Don't you do what Jim Schuckman says? At least half of it, exercise every day? Man. But the man makes me nervous. I'm glad that the opening salvo was fired by Vice President Harris. Articulate, forceful, straight to the point. But insofar as what Biden said today, I think it's well past time that this filthy pig who squats down in Mar-a-Lago with his little coterie of thugs around him was finally identified as the rotten, traitorous son of a bitch that he is. I still can't understand why he hasn't been arrested and charged with treason. No, really, I can't. And I may not be the brightest bulb in the marquee, but I'm not stupid either. I understand, you have to have cause to arrest somebody and charge him with crimes. What the hell is needed here? Which brings up this little piglet over on the Fox sewer, Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson. And what's her name? The one who is between the two of them or after Hannity. I forget her name offhand. But why are there still advertisers on the Fox sewer? I mean, I understand that huge corporations, conglomerates, and individuals who run those conglomerates or who have power within those conglomerates, the real capitalist pigs that are screwing and have screwed the entire planet, they prefer to work within an autocratic government when they're working in different countries. But why are they still on advertising on this little shit Hannity show? They should be leaving in droves. Especially now that it's clear that a number of Fox scum have been openly advocating treason and fascism and insurrection in this country. Why is any American company supporting them? I'll tell you what it takes to get them to stop. A complete fucking 100% boycott of whatever product is advertised on the Fox sewer. Everything. A total boycott. And I'm doing that. And I think everybody should do it. Why support these son of a bitches? Why provide money to keep this propaganda outlet going? Good God, people, come on. I know you've probably seen rehash after rehash of what Biden said this morning, what Kamala Harris said this morning on the one-year anniversary commemoration of the scum who tried to destroy America and are still trying to destroy America. This was not a one-off. This was a rehearsal on January 6, 2021. And what happens as this insurrection continues is going to be up to law enforcement and probably the United States military and up to you and me and millions of us who will be, when the time comes, and it appears the time will be coming, who will be willing to fight, physically fight, to preserve this country. And God only knows when that fight occurs, if it does occur, because when it does, when for a second time there's an attempt to destroy this union, we have enemies now that we did not have in 1860. Boy, do we have them now. And God only knows what's waiting for us where it concerns foreign intervention when this country finally explodes internally. I shared something with you in its entirety, I think over the weekend or the first part of this week, a piece written by a professor who's an expert on terrorism and insurrection and so on and so forth at a Canadian university. And I shared with you his entire piece. I mean, the rest of the world is watching what's going on here, and they're watching with trepidation because they understand the potential for violence. We have 400 million fucking guns in this country, more guns than people. Those are in the hands of the citizenry, you might say. So if it ever does erupt here because of these fascist Christians and this pig Donald Trump and these cowboy militia type pissants who wet themselves and cry in court when they're finally forced to face justice. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be pleasant. So Biden this morning forcefully denounced this pig Trump for the lies that the Orange Vomit keeps promoting and the way the Orange Vomit keeps tearing down democracy, because he couldn't stand the fact that he lost. And one of the lines that were just visceral to me was when Biden said that Trump and his allies are holding, quote, a dagger at the throat of America, end quote. That is so goddamn true. Now, this was the most, and it's about time, sustained and scathing attack on the Orange Vomit since Biden took office. And Biden used the anniversary of this mob attack to condemn the Orange Vomit for waging, quote, an undemocratic and un-American campaign against the legitimacy of the election system, end quote. And, of course, rightfully, Biden finally likened what the Orange Vomit did to the actions of dictators in countries around the world. Biden, and it was ironic to me that Biden was standing in the statuary hall that was invaded by these redneck white filth a year ago. And he said this, Biden did, quote, the former president of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election. He's done so because he values power over principle, because he sees his own interests as more important than his country's interests and America's interests, and because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution. He can't accept the loss, end quote. Now, to me, that's a perfect description of a mafia don, isn't it, huh? He values power over principle. He sees his own interests more important than the country's. Not just mafia. I mean, any fucking gangster, any mobster, any drug peddler, any international head of any international drug cartel. I mean, they all look at it this way, including this pig Trump. Now, without using Trump's name, which I thought was appropriate, Biden assailed, quote, the defeated former president, end quote, for trying to rewrite history. And he's going to continue to do that. And for casting the attackers, the mob, the scum, the cowardly pissant white men who attacked the Capitol, trying to paint them, the Orange Vomit does, as patriots. Biden said, quote, is that what you thought when you looked at the mob ransacking the Capitol, destroying property, literally defecating in the hallways, rifling through desks of senators and representatives, hunting down members of Congress, patriots? End quote. That's when he said, quote, those who stormed this Capitol and those who instigated and incited and those who called on them to do so held a dagger at the throat of America, a dagger at American democracy. Let me quote for you a little bit here directly what he said from the transcript. This wasn't a group of tourists. This was an armed insurrection. They weren't looking to uphold the will of the people. They were looking to deny the will of the people. They weren't looking to uphold a free and fair election. They were looking to overturn one. They weren't looking to save the cause of America. They were looking to subvert the Constitution. The former president of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election. He's done so because he values power over principle, because he sees his own interest as more important than his country's interest, than America's interest, and because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution. He can't accept he lost. The third big lie being told by our former president and his supporters is that the mob who sought to impose their will through violence are the nation's true patriots. Is that what you thought when you looked at the mob ransacking the Capitol, destroying property, literally defecating in the hallways, rifling through the desks of senators and representatives, hunting down members of Congress? Patriots? Not in my view. I did not seek this fight brought to this Capitol 1 year ago, but I will not shrink from it either. I will stand in this breach. I will defend this nation, and I'll allow no one to place a dagger at the throat of democracy. We will make sure the will of the people is heard, that the ballot prevails, not violence, that authority in this nation will always be peacefully transferred. End quote. Well, those are good words, and I'm sure Biden means them. But I have to ask, what about me? Do I subscribe to his words? Will I fight if it becomes necessary to support him? Will you? Will the 81 million of us who voted for him, will we? Donald Trump, just unbelievably, Donald Trump has become this erupting boil on the skin of the body politic that coalesced all this Christian fascist horse shit that's been building in this country for 40 years and divided us. So here we are. Now the question's been asked, what about those 70 million people who voted for him to be reelected? Are they all fascist Christians? I would say probably 95 or 98 or 99% of them are. Really. The other percentage are people who are so fucking ignorant, they'll vote for a goddamn tree stump if it's listed as a Republican. And that's being charitable. When I say 90, 95, 98% of them voted for Trump because they like what the son of a bitch has been doing. How did this country produce 70 million people who would vote for round 2 of this monstrous fuck? I mean, how did all these white women vote for him for re-election? I can't get past that. I mean, I know in my heart of hearts that black women voters wouldn't go near casting a ballot for Donald Trump. But all these white women, the so-called suburban moms and you know, the ones that flounce around with their little baseball hats on with their ponytails sticking out the back and their little tennis outfits, what the fuck is wrong with you? Donald Trump would rape and pillage your ass given a choice, and you vote for him again? After watching what he does for 4 years? Are you trying to be like this bitch Boebert or this slut Marjorie Taylor Greene? Are those your heroes, you suburban white women? Really? Oh, God. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.